And we're live. Hi, I'm Jeanne Schumacher, co-founder of the Pregnancy Advantage, and I'm here with Dr. Debra Shapiro, and we are going to be taking your questions.
We have a very good show today. We're going to be talking about some questions that have come in from the outside. And if you have any questions, please post them in the chat and we'll try to get to them also. But I wanted to say first that Jeanne and I have developed a program called the Pregnancy Advantage. And what's special about the Pregnancy Advantage is that it is a program to help you get prepared for a pregnancy, physically and emotionally prepared. And we know so much now about the fact that how you are physically and emotionally when you become pregnant is going to have an effect down the line of both your child and also your grandchildren through epigenetics. This idea that we can affect the expression of genes by what we eat, and also how we even think and about our emotion, our emotional state, and our anxiety as well, and the stress that we're under, and the chemicals that we're exposed to. And that's what sets this program apart from any of the other lifestyle medicine programs, is because not only do we talk about eating right, eating a whole food plant-based diet, and getting enough sleep and exercise and stress reduction, and we give you social support, but in addition, we want you to reduce your toxin exposure. And Jeanne, who has a history as a teacher, as a chemistry teacher for 35 years, just recently retired, knows everything about chemicals. And I actually did not know about the effects that some of these chemicals that we're exposed to can have on the fetus, but I've been learning, and it is extraordinary. And it's very important because we are living in a toxic soup, and you can see these chemicals coming out in the umbilical cords of babies, in our breast milk, they're in the placenta, they're in your urine, and you can reduce them by eating differently. Most of them are through your food, also through your environment. So if anything that you put on your body is going to be absorbed, and some of these are also dangerous. It's like parabens and phthalates from scented material. BPA is a big one from the linings of cans, but I'm not talking about any particular brands. I'm just saying stay away from BPA. So BPA, phthalates, parabens, the per and polyfluorocalcilyl compounds. We're going to learn all about them in this program, and you're going to learn how to nourish your body in the cleanest way possible so that you can prepare yourself to hold a baby. You'll have health, you'll have improved fertility, healthier pregnancies, less complications, easier deliveries, and healthier and smarter children. And that is what we need for the next generation.
Right.
Ooh, that was a soapbox.
That was, oh my goodness. Well, and we have a couple things for you guys. One is we have a gift, and we want you to learn about the top 3 things that Dr. Shapiro and I think that you should be doing to get your body pregnant ready. So that's number 1. So if you go to pregnantready.net, then you can get our gift, and we dive deep into those 3 topics. And that's kind of an example of what we do in our educational class. The other thing that we're doing is we want to offer a scholarship. So to 3 women, and we want to take you through from the time you are ready. We want that you're thinking down the road to have a baby. We want to help get your body pregnant ready. And then when you're ready to conceive, we'll guide you through that time as well until conception. So basically from enrolling into our program for free, it's a scholarship, and until you conceive. So if you're interested in that, you can go to our Facebook page, Pregnancy Advantage, and we list all the criteria that we're looking for. So if that fits you, and please share this with friends, because we're accepting it till the end of this month, and then we'll let you know by August 1st who has been enrolled. So, and we look forward to helping 3 lucky women to help and change.
Fantastic.
So we have a question. Our first question of today is, can you explain about the omega-3 fatty acids? And do I need to take additional DHA? And should I take fish oil for this? But also do explain what DHA is in case some people don't know what it is. Take it away.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Doc.
So there are because we are plant-eating mammals, we have evolved to eat plants. And so we get certain nutrients from plants, and certain nutrients we can make that we can't get from plants, we can make ourselves. For example, we make all the cholesterol that we need. We don't need to eat cholesterol to get cholesterol. We make cholesterol. Something else, though, that we can't make that shows how much we evolved to be eating plants is that we cannot make vitamin C. And you know that vitamin C is very important, and there's a disease of vitamin C deficiency, ascorbic acid deficiency called scurvy. And you remember there were, I think the British Navy would be out on ships for long periods of time, and people would get very sick. You could even die from scurvy. And that's why they used to call them limeys, because they would bring lemons and limes onto the ship so that so even way back when this was happening, we learned that people needed vitamin C. So we don't make vitamin C because we know that we're going to eat plants and we're going to get it from plants. And we can make all the cholesterol we need because we don't. Now, you know that your dog, who's more of an omnivore, your dog does not get heart disease. Your dog can eat cholesterol and it doesn't raise his LDLs. But we are very sensitive to things like saturated fat and cholesterol, and we certainly develop heart disease. It is our number one killer. All right, so, but there are actually some fatty acids that we can't make and that we do need to get from outside. And so these fatty acids that we need to get from outside are called the essential fatty acids. And there are basically two major types of essential fatty acids, the omega-3s and the omega-6s. And the numbers, the omega-3 or 6, has to do with where a chemical bond, where these double bonds are. And I think Jeanne would probably be able to tell you more about that if that's important. But omega-3s and omega-6s. Omega-6s are really ubiquitous throughout the plant world. They're in all the nuts and seeds and oils. We got plenty of omega-6s. Also, if you're eating not a whole food plant-based diet, but if you're eating more of a vegan diet, then you're going to get plenty of omega-6s also in processed food. So omega-6s are easy to get, and there's no problem with that. Omega-3s, however, are a little trickier. In the plant world, omega-3s exist in ground flax. You're not going to really get omega-3s if you're just eating the whole flax seeds. You have to grind them. The same with chia seeds. You have to grind them. And then walnuts and flax seeds, chia seeds, and hemp seeds. Hemp seeds and walnuts. You don't have to grind the hemp. Okay. The ratio, the better ratio to have between omega-3s and omega-6s is 2-to-1 to 4-to-1 of omega-6s to omega-3s. The issue is that we get much more omega-6s than omega-3s normally. And let me explain what these omega-3 fatty acids become in our body. They get transformed through a series of enzymatic steps and processes to become these end products, which are very important for our bodies. The omega-6s become something called arachidonic acid, which is pro-inflammatory and helps with our immune response. So we need, if you cut yourself or your cat scratches you, you need to launch an immune response and you need arachidonic acid. So I don't want you to think that omega-6s are bad and omega-3s are good, because that's not true. You need omega-6s, you just need the ratio to be 2-to-1 to 4-to-1, omega-6 to omega-3s. So arachidonic acid. Now on the other side, so that's omega-6s are the linoleic acid. Linoleic acid gets transformed to be arachidonic acid. The omega-3s are alpha-linolenic acid, ALA, alpha-linolenic acid. And that gets turned into DHA and EPA, so DHA. So these are long chain fatty acids, and the linolenic acid, alpha-linolenic acid, or the DHA, are anti-inflammatory. So very important anti-inflammatory substances for your body, which is also important. So you need this proper ratio. It's interesting that hemp seeds have just the right ratio in them of omega-6s to omega-3s. In a hemp seed itself, it's about 3-to-1, so it's perfect. But as I said, most seeds might have much more omega-6s. Things like sesame seeds. I mean, I really like tahini, but it is very high in omega-6s. So you can actually take your tablespoon of ground flax, which Dr. Greger recommends every day. You can have a handful of walnuts, and that's a good start. But if you're also eating foods that have a lot of omega-6s, then you may need to up your amount of omega-3s. And there's something else that's important, and that is that we may not convert our alpha-linolenic acid in our food to the DHA very, very well. And especially if we're competing with the omega-6s. So that's why Dr. Greger does recommend getting an algae-based source of DHA. And the reason that even ACOG recommends women eat fish during their pregnancy is because the fish eat the algae and they turn it into DHA. So it is important for women who are thinking about getting pregnant and women who are pregnant to get an algae-based source of preformed DHA or DHA/EPA that they take every day so that your breast milk can also be high in these omega-3s, which will be great for the baby's brain. I don't think that you need to take oils or use, I mean, there's even flax oil, but I don't think you need ever to use oils like that. It's fine just to get an algae-based supplement, 300 milligrams of a DHA or DHA/EPA. Not hard to find. And some of them are not too fishy. I would not get fish oil. They used to tout fish oil as being good for your heart, but that's been debunked. It is not good for heart disease. It does nothing for your heart. And you know, really, when you think about for the environment that they're just dredging up the bottoms of the oceans to just drag all these fish up, and then they're squeezing, getting the oil, processing them just to get the oil out of them to fill those shelves in the pharmacy with all this fish oil. And also our oceans are really pretty polluted right now. So there's another problem that I have with my college telling people to eat fish twice a week or even 3 is that they're just too contaminated. Fish are contaminated with PCBs, they're contaminated with dioxins, with heavy metals like mercury. I had mercury poisoning twice from eating too much fish. So I don't think it's realistic. Maybe it was 50 years ago to tell people to eat more fish if you weren't vegan. But I don't think it is reasonable to ask women to do that anymore because our waterways are just too polluted. So algae can be raised sterilely, and then they can extract the omega-3s directly from the algae. And I know Greger talks about just leaving out the middle fish. You don't need to be bothering with fish. You can just take the algae-based DHA, and it's very good for the baby's brain development and your own. And it's good to have a good level. You can even check your omega-3 level in your blood to make sure that you're not deficient. There is some omega-3s in greens for sure, but I wouldn't necessarily rely on that. And certainly when you're pregnant, I would get there are actually now prenatal vitamins, prescription prenatal vitamins that have an extra capsule of a plant-based DHA. So everybody recognizes that that's important, and you want to get a source that's clean. The algae is sterilely grown.
Wow. All right. You answered that question. That was a good one.
Yes, it was. Thanks for whoever called that in.
That was a good one. Yeah.
Good.
So if you have questions, you can either comment below. We'll try and get to them, or send them ahead because people have been sending us questions ahead of time so we can further dive in and make sure that we got the right research, that what we're saying to you is research based, because it's all about learning to take charge of your health destiny without question.
Yeah. And you can go down a lot of rabbit holes. I mean, if you just Google for yourself endocrine disrupting chemicals in pregnancy, or endocrine disrupting chemicals in children, or you'll be amazed at what is now known. Yes. And there were initially, since there are studies from rodents, which are, and as an ethical vegan, I'm not interested in those, although the outcomes are interesting, but distressing nonetheless. But we know now from humans that the chemicals that we're exposed to, and some of it is from fish, but also from our personal care products and from other foods that we can eat, and from containers that we use, the plastic containers and the water bottles, and even those receipts, the special kind of thin receipts that you get at BPA. Yeah. This is very bad for the fetus. So you want to get all that. So some of these materials go out of your body quickly. They have a short half-life, and some have a much longer half-life. So there's some persistent organic pollutants from fish, for example, that can hang around for years. That's why Dr. Greger actually recommends detoxing from fish for 5 years before a pregnancy. Not always possible, but you could certainly switch to organic, and that would immediately change how much of some of these chemicals is coming out in your urine and how much is going to be affecting the fetus. And something like mercury, the half-life is about 90 days, 100 days. So it takes 3 months to get your level from, well, mine was, let's say 14 down to 7. You really want very little mercury in your body. It's a neurotoxin. You don't want the fetus to be exposed to that level. So I think one of the really important parts of our program, which is, whole food, plant-based, but also lifestyle medicine, but it is the emphasis on reducing toxins, which nobody is really talking about.
It's true.
And it is having an effect on the brains of our children. Well, Jeanne, you can talk about this from what you see, what you've been seeing as a teacher.
Right. Well, as a teacher of over 35 years, I just stepped out of the classroom at the end of June, and what perfect timing. I mean, who knew that we would be in this, pandemic? So, but I've seen it in the kids, over my career as a teacher. I don't teach the way I did 35 years ago because they can't handle it. They have a real difficult time. There's so many issues, from ADD to ADHD to being cognitive development, just being able to, and one of the biggest things I found, which I think was a hallmark for the United States, because a lot of other countries just didn't have this within their kids, is the ability to be able to understand a concept, but then apply it to novel situations. No, I don't see this at all. It's just straight rote learning, spit it in, redo it for a test. And, I'm very, and I've seen these changes, and I kept looking around, what is it that's causing these things? And I just think back to, I was born in 1960, and I never saw an autistic child until the 1990s. And it's a phenomenal amount of resources to be able to raise an autistic child, because they have a lot of issues. Well, I think it's a combination of environmental toxins and the food that are nutrient deficiency. So,
right.
Well, I have some suggestions that women can eat, during a day of vegan pregnancy, because either it's helping you and your baby, or it's hurting you. That's your choice, and as you are trying to get your body ready to create another human being, you have to be very cognizant of what you're putting into your body. You have to. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. I mean, without question, alcohol. No. So we talk about these kinds of things, in our program, what you should be eating and drinking. So let's talk about a standard day. Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Just add, because you were talking about the effects on these children and learning disabilities.
Oh.
To the toxins, you can think about saturated fat as a toxin, just like BPA or just like any of these others, because it also affects the fetal brain in the same way. So that's why we want you to get down to a healthy weight, a normal weight. It's ideal for pregnancy, ideal for fertility, but also is going to be better for the developing fetus. Saturated fat and maternal obesity are just very damaging to the brain and all of the processes that are going on in the developing fetus. So,
well, I'm going to piggyback on what you just said, and just talk about the two types of chemicals that your body's exposed to. One is fat soluble, and the other one's water soluble. So if it's water soluble, you'll pee it out eventually. I mean, your body still has to process it, through your kidneys and your different organs. You still have to process it, but you're going to get it out of your system pretty quickly. If it's fat soluble, it's going right into your fat. And so, either food that is fat soluble, and that's great, but also there's a lot of toxins that you're going to be exposed to that go right in. And what your body does is to protect itself, very much like an oyster creates a pearl, that if you cut open a pearl, you're going to look inside and you're going to find an irritating grain of sand. And so what the oyster did is create this coating so that each time it put another coat around it, it wasn't as annoying or irritating, because the oyster can't go, I got to pick that up and out and get it out of my shell. It can't do that. So its way to do that is it coats it and creates a beautiful pearl. Well, we don't create a beautiful pearl. We create this fat cell, and it becomes a toxic dumping ground. So we want to avoid that, and we want to help you to get the bodies out, because when you start to breastfeed, all those toxins, that are fat soluble, that's going right in your breast milk and right to the baby. Just saying. So we don't want that for the babies. We want them to eat, get your body healthy, and then create a healthy baby. So some of the things to eat, standard breakfast, oatmeal. Okay. Just a cup of rolled oats. You can be cooked or not cooked. The rolled oats is going to be high in magnesium. It's going to be protein, fiber, iron, zinc. Soak it in some plant-based milk, or top it with some soy-based yogurt, something in there, that'll help get the prebiotics into your body, will help feed your gut biome. So much more important than we ever knew. Top with some frozen berries or fresh berries. There's going to be high in vitamin C, antioxidants, phytonutrients. I mean, just on and on and on. I mean, these are like powerhouses. Maybe sweeten it with a little bit of blackstrap molasses, which is going to be high in calcium, very high in iron. Maybe add some peanut butter to it. Okay, that's going to be high in protein, or some chia seeds, which is going to be high in the omega-3s that Dr. Shapiro was talking about, but also protein and fiber. So, win-win on that breakfast right there. So maybe snack might be some dried or fresh fruit, which is going to be great for low blood sugar, high in fiber. Perhaps maybe some nuts, not a lot, okay, because we don't want a lot of fat, but, maybe like 1 ounce of nuts, high in fiber, calcium, iron, zinc. I mean, some amazing micronutrients. Seeds, which are going to be high in calcium, magnesium, and just so many other phytonutrients. Maybe perhaps some whole grain crackers with maybe some hummus. The crackers would be like, again, fiber, iron, zinc, magnesium. Hummus would be protein. We want to focus on protein a little bit more so, because they don't say you're eating for 2 for nothing, because you are. You jump in. I can see you're like, yeah.
I just wanted to say that this is great. You don't need more protein in the first trimester, but starting in the second trimester, after 13 or 14 weeks and on, you are going to need about 28 extra grams of protein a day. So that's why it's recommended that you try to have, let's say, 15 grams of protein with your meals and snacks, so you get enough. There's never going to be a problem. It's not a problem to get enough protein on a plant-based diet, but it does mean that you can't really just be a fruitarian. If you're a fruitarian, just eating, nuts and fruit that fall off the tree, you may be deficient in protein. So we want you to eat a whole plant food diet, and we want you to eat from all the different food groups. In addition, so you don't need so much extra calories, 300 extra calories a day, but 50% more protein in the second and third trimesters. And we do recommend that you take your prenatal vitamins. And when you're in the program, we do talk about all the different nutrients of concern, even some that we haven't been able to talk about today yet, like choline and selenium and stuff. But take it away with lunch.
All right, back to lunch. So perhaps maybe, and this is my personal favorite, some avocado, like a smashed avocado, which is going to be good in healthy fats. It's going to give you some vitamin C. Oh, that fiber. Ooh, mission critical, that fiber, because that's going to help feed your gut biome. On some like whole grain breads, which is going to, have a variety of nutrients like magnesium. There's going to be some protein, fiber, iron, zinc, depending upon which, obviously which bread you're using. Top with some fresh, oh my God, summer tomatoes. There's nothing better than tomatoes picked right off the vine, like some of those beefsteak tomatoes, right? So those are going to be high in vitamin C, some potassium there. Then maybe add some slices of cucumber, add some leafy greens in there, or make a smoothie to go with that, at lunch, and get those greens in there, because, oh my God, that's going to be your fiber. That is going to be, talk about feeding your endothelial cells. Oh my goodness. So, add some cucumber, maybe some little bit of squirt of lemon juice, some garlic powder, some black pepper, adds a lot of flavor. Okay, maybe an afternoon snack. Maybe how about some soy yogurt? If you didn't have some with breakfast, how about some soy yogurt with maybe a little granola, or some hummus, some veggies with hummus on top of that, or, something along that, maybe some carrot sticks and hummus, along that line. Or dinner. How about a dal? Oh my God, do I not? I love Indian food. I don't know about you. Love Indian food. So a dal is made with some leek, which is going to be high in copper, folate, very important, iron, perhaps some potato, high in manganese and B6. Then some cabbage, which is high in vitamin C, potassium, B6. Lentils, oh my God, powerhouse, right, of protein and fiber. Fiber, again, mission critical. Then you serve that on some, good rice, which is going to be high in carbohydrates, the protein, fiber, and it's going to be low in cholesterol for sure. So with all this fiber that you're going to be eating, it's going to be a moving one. Yes. That stuff's going to be moving through you.
Right.
And that's one of the big issues with pregnancy is constipation. Right. So we don't want that. You're going to be a pooping machine. That's what we want, a pooping machine. Because you're going to have epic dumps. There's no other crude way to say it, but you're going to have epic dumps.
The joke about vegans is that we poop faster than we pee, right? Have you heard that?
No,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. So I was thinking when you were talking about lunch that with your avocado, I mean, you could always add some hummus. You could add some baked tofu or a tempeh or a slab of tempeh if you really wanted to up your protein. And whole soybeans are great. And anytime that you can mix up, there's so many different kinds of legumes to have. There's so many different kinds of grains to have. You could just experiment.
Eat from the rainbow.
And even with breakfast, like if you did have an Instant Pot, I certainly sometimes use, rolled oats is great for soaking and for having the overnight oats, which is wonderful when you're doing batch cooking. I've also done that with steel cut oats as well. This is a little crunchier. But also, if you have your Instant Pot, you can make whole oat groats. And Dr. Greger is big on walling off your foods and eating things that are contained within a cell wall. So eating less processed and more whole products is always really great. So if you can try different kinds of grains. Rye berries and whole oat groats are wonderful, and farro and spelt and kamut, and right, you can just go nuts. So or go grains. So learn to love grains because they really are wonderful. And all this talk about how terrible carbs are, it's just baloney. It's absolutely baloney. So these are huge sources of amino acids and protein and fiber and micronutrients and antioxidants. And there's no reason to leave anything out. The only thing I would leave out are the animal products and the saturated fat that even comes from processed plants like coconut oil and palm oil. But other than that, eat the rainbow as much as possible in the way that it came out of the ground or off the tree.
Right. Yeah. All right. Well, Dr. Shapiro, I always learn so much from you, truly.
And I learn a lot from you as well. I'm glad we're working together. I think this is going to be this is a great program. If any of you are thinking about getting pregnant when it's safer to be pregnant, like in 2021, and you want to take these 6 months to lose a bunch of weight and get healthier and get all the toxins out of your home and learn how to really thrive without these toxic materials, we're going to help you with cookware. We're going to help you with storage materials. We're going to help you learn how to cook on parchment. It's all going to be wonderful. And you're going to have healthier pregnancies with less complications and healthier children and grandchildren.
Right. Because I've got my first grandchild coming up, and that I'm excited. So don't forget, we have the scholarship. So if you're interested, you can go on to the Pregnancy Advantage Facebook page. First of all, give us a like. So check out the criteria, and if those match you, hey, do apply. So we're going to be doing that until the end of the month. And then we'll look at how many people have applied, and we'll go from there. So that, and we have the gift. So go to pregnantready.net, and you can get your free gift for the top 3 things that we think, Dr. Shapiro and I think, that you should be doing to get your body pregnant ready. So I will see you, Doc, next week. Same time, same channel.
Have a wonderful week. Bye, Jeanne. Bye, everyone. Take care. Eat healthy.
Take care.